If your life doesn't look anything like what you thought it was going to look at this moment in time, this episode is for you.
Claudia Ramirez, empowering you to become the optimal leader of your life. Let's turn on the Mindset Mic.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Mindset Mic. Today we're going to talk about why you're not behind and why you're early to your second life. What do I even mean when I say your second life? I think it's very, very common for us to compare to that specific version that we had envisioned for this moment in time, for that specific something that somebody else has. It's very easy to feel poorly about yourself. It's very easy to become self-critical and judgmental and really put yourself in a frequency hole that it's very difficult to get out of. But when I talk about looking at it as a second life, it's you are giving yourself a second opportunity to actually get to where you seek to be. Now, this does not come from a comparison standpoint. I'd like to think of it as you are giving yourself a second wind, knowing that you are not where you want to be, knowing that you could have been doing better, that you could have actually been performing better, applying yourself better, knowing that you maybe have been kind of sedentary or not being very active in your goals or in your growth journey. That is the biggest step. And once you do that, it's like giving yourself a second chance at life. And whenever you have that aha moment, I want to invite you to not take it lightly. I want you to be proud of yourself. I want you to feel so empowered because you are somebody who is gutsy enough to say, look, I look at my life and I am not happy with what I see. I want more. I know that I can do more. I was born for more. And being able to say that is probably the biggest thing for your life because you are having that self-awareness, and you are not somebody who settles. You are somebody who's striving for more. You're striving for bigger, for better. You are striving for your own purpose. And not everybody says that. Unfortunately, 80 to 90% of the population are stagnant. 80 to 90% of the population don't do anything to challenge themselves or to reach certain goals. They just kind of live life and they allow society and the timeline of life to dictate what it is that they do at a different moment in time. And that is not you. If you feel behind, if you feel as if you are late to the game, if you feel like you haven't given it your all and you have so much more to give, welcome to the second life. Welcome to the world of high achievers and people who actually make things happen. This second life that you have, this second wind, is an opportunity for you to live life to the fullest. This is the time when you give yourself the chance to extract everything that you are and to see just how far your purpose can make it. And I wouldn't take that lightly. Whenever it comes to comparison, like I said before, it's very easy to look at other people and think, I should be that. I should do this. I look at what they have and what I don't. And I'm going to tell you from personal experience that it's very easy to fall down that trap. For me, it happens a lot, or it has happened a lot historically, not in the athletic side, but more so on the entrepreneurial journey. Knowing that I have done so much athletically, nothing in comparison to anybody else. I've actually been pretty mediocre in comparison to some amazing athletes that I know, but that journey has been phenomenal for me. And because I've been able to do something phenomenal in that area of my life, I think about my entrepreneurial journey and I think, well, I don't have a podcast that has 2 million downloads yet. I don't have an Instagram with 2 million followers. Of course, it's going to happen eventually, but it's something that it gives you a different perspective of what is it that you have and how grateful are you for what you have cultivated. And for me, I'm actually very, very proud because I know that I am a team of one. And I know that going into this, I knew 30% of what it entailed, and the other 70% I had to learn. Sure, I have a master's in curriculum and instruction. Sure, I love speaking about mindset and empowerment, and I love supporting others, but I didn't know what it was like to, use certain types of gear, and I didn't know how it was to edit videos or to upload them, and what is SEO, and what is optimization and hashtags, and how do you use funnels and sales strategies. How do you even build that when all you want to do is speak to the camera and pour your heart to support other people, right? So it's very easy to look back and think about, man, dude, people are crushing it. This person went viral out of nowhere, and you feel poorly about yourself. But that's where the ego really sticks in, really kicks in and tells you, hey, I'm here, I'm present. And you have to kind of manage that ego and ask yourself, is this coming from a point of, I want to be better than others? Or is it coming from a point of, I want to be the best that I can possibly be? And I know that I never compare myself to others in a sense of, I want to be better than you. I've actually never really been like that in athletics. Maybe it wasn't a very positive thing because I was a track runner and a cross country runner, and you do want to be better than the person next to you. But at the end of the day, for me, it just comes down to the best that I can be. And I look at those gaps in my journey that sometimes I'm just like, oh gosh, if you hadn't done this, or if you hadn't done that, or if you had done more of this and that, and you have stuck to this plan, things would have been very different for you. But looking back, the only thing that we can do is learn. You don't get anything, and I mean anything, from feeling poorly about what hasn't happened. And you can only feel grateful for what you have right now and for that self-awareness, and get super excited for what is to come. So whenever we talk about what is to come and talking about that second wind, it's a wonderful opportunity for you to look at what has worked and what hasn't, and what do you want moving forward. Being behind is a myth. It is a self-constructed lie, something that you have told yourself based on your own goals and your own aspirations and your own ambitions, which we love to have, but also on what society has told you that you need to be doing. You're supposed to have a car and a house and family and have traveled the world and have been earning X and doing all these things by a certain age. And this, whenever you're on this journey in your entrepreneurship, and this in this journey in your marathons, and it's so easy to feel behind. But you have to understand and really come to the moment with yourself of like, I am comparing to something that is just false. It's like this like fog, walking across a bridge and seeing fog and thinking there is a wall, but really it's not that there is a wall. It's that it seems like it because you're so far away. But whenever you get closer to it and you actually look at what is behind it, you can see that there is something beyond the fog, and that was just a fake wall that you were thinking was real. And so that realness, I want you to think to yourself and ask, what is that realness for me? And how can I actually apply these feelings that I have about my own journey into something positive? In this process, now that you have this aha moment of, okay, I could be maximizing this area of my life, doing better, improving in these areas of my life. Maybe it's 1, maybe there are 10. Perfect, great. I really want to urge you to not fall into what I call the high performance trap. It's very, very easy once you start thinking about, I'm going to go for it, to start comparing to an old version of yourself. And you start doing so much to outdo that version of yourself that you didn't like, that you didn't think was doing enough. And then you end up falling into this high performance trap that is only trying to do more. And your identity becomes, if I achieve, I'm great. And if I don't, then I'm not. Because you're coming from this, I don't want to be that. And if you're listening, I'm putting my hand down low because sometimes we measure it in terms of how much growth there is or how much success there is. And the less is bad, more is good. But in reality, in life, there isn't anything that is good or bad. Things are great, they work in your favor, or they are lessons. And those lessons are what can be, sure, they can be great metrics for us to move forward, but it's not something negative, that quote unquote negative. I say it all the time. I say quote unquote negative because I don't like to use the word negative. I don't like to use the word bad. I like for us to just be. And the key is to be happy with where you are right now, to be happy in the now, to be happy with yourself, to find that contentment and that satisfaction with what is at the moment. And it's something that I go back and forth with a lot. I'm not even going to lie to you when I say this, because it's very easy to identify with somebody else because you are coming from the outside. If I'm going with a coaching client with a friend or a family member, it's very easy for me to be like, oh my gosh, they don't see that they are just sitting on opportunity, that they are just sitting in a world of abundance, that they have so much to be grateful for. That is so common when we're looking at somebody else. Right? We are analyzing somebody else's journey. But whenever it's about us, it's not as easy. And it's something that we become very self-critical of. And we are fighting so hard to not be that old version of ourselves that we want to cling on to every single moment of growth that is going to help us get there. And it's, for me, the biggest realization is whenever we're talking about not falling behind and getting our second wind and getting our second life, is about, sure, you get to embark on a second life, but is this second life also going to have a different perspective when it comes to performance and when it comes to growth? Are you going to accept all that is, even whenever you don't hit the mark? Because that is actual growth. Growth is not just in the numbers or in what you have or in what you accomplish. Growth is in being able to be and be okay with just being okay with things not working out in your favor or as you envisioned, despite you going for it. Because you going for it was the big, that was the second wind, and whatever comes out of it, phenomenal, and whatever doesn't, great. Then it's going to be a learning moment, and we keep on going. But that for me is the biggest part. It's not about the second wind, the second life, the second opportunity, go big or go home. It's more about the moment of, am I growing enough? Am I using this moment to not judge myself for what hasn't happened or for what I don't have or for what I am not? But more so, really leveraging those moments of growth and saying, look at all that I am, look at all that I've done, and yet whether I had it or not, it really doesn't matter. And that is, for me, one of the most important factors in this journey, is looking at yourself from another lens and thinking about, do I want to grow? Yes, but is it the end all be all? And the answer, hopefully, is no. Now, you're stepping into a new chapter. How do you reframe it so that you don't feel behind? Because one thing is saying it, but another thing is actually feeling it. I'll leave you with one last tip. The easiest way for you to help yourself believe that this is a second life, a second wind in your journey, is by completely altering and shifting your frequency. Now, how are you going to do that? First and foremost, I want you to think of everything that's happened before in this specific area of your journey that you don't feel very happy about. Talk about what you do well, what you can improve, what has worked in other areas and what hasn't. For instance, if I'm talking about my entrepreneurship, I'm going to look at my proof that I am a great athlete, how I can be very disciplined in this and that, how I have wonderful relationships, what can I do better in my business, what have I done well. All of these things are going to be a huge, huge teller, because you're basically giving yourself data. You're giving yourself proof, and you're creating awareness around what has worked and what hasn't. Now, on the frequency side, that already is shifting, right? Because you're kind of teaching yourself, you're coaching yourself through this moment. We're having a coaching moment here, but I want you to coach yourself because I'm not there with you. The next thing is we're going to create micro habits that are going to give you that pep in your step. So that mindset moment or moment of inspiration, whether it's through 10 to 20 pages in a book, whether it's through podcasting, whether it's through something that is going to teach you or you're going to learn, or something that's going to help you move forward in whatever journey it is that you're on. That is going to make you feel and walk with a pep in your step. Integrating fitness, whether it's running or meditation or Pilates or whatever it is that you like, that is also going to make you feel good because you're doing something great for yourself in one area, which of course is going to mimic everything else. And all of a sudden, all of these micro habits come together and you feel like a different person, but it only starts with a decision. It starts with you deciding that you are the right person for that second life. And if you don't do that and you live in the same frequency, we talk about inspiration, take progress, inspiration, take action, make progress, and that's when you get motivation. That, if you don't do that, then you're always going to be living the same old life, and that is why you're feeling behind. But if you decide that this quote unquote behind is your day one, everything ahead from you is just moving on up. And that is the beauty of it. It brings excitement, it brings possibility, it brings potential into your existence. And now you decide how it's going to be shaped and which way you're going to take it. That is what I have for you today. You are not behind, you are in your second life. Being behind is a myth. That is something that is self-constructed. You are not behind. You are in the first chapter of your whole new life, as cliche as it sounds. The most important part, believe and believe that you are the right person and that you are deserving of the second wind. If you don't believe it, nobody else can believe it for yourself. And as always, remember that I believe in you. Keep being gutsy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.